Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome back to my channel. Always so happy to find you here. If you're new here, please stay for a longer while. Bring a friend with you next time. And I'm happy to have your subscription. Today, I'm going to be speaking on the silly docility of staying silent. Now, I'm I'm careful, and I've been careful in the past as to the promotion of using your voice because I know not everyone can, not everyone will. Some people just don't have the courage. Some people just feel more comfortable staying silent. But staying silent never fixed anything. It doesn't fix a broken relationship. People can't read your mind and know what's going on or what you're thinking. You think because you're thinking something, that person can just by osmosis know what you're thinking about the situation. Staying silent has never, I shouldn't say never, staying silent rarely fixes anything. So use your voice, use the power of your voice. So let me start this way. Sometimes people say to me, that's easy for you to say. And I just kind of snicker inside going, if you only knew. I have not always been vocal, verbal, or even advanced in saying how I felt. I was often very quiet about things too and just let them find their completion, I'd say. Just almost like, okay, that'll go away. I was never passive, but I was always ready to just settle for however the outcome was. Me being able to verbalize and use verbiage the way that I can now, and particularly in strategic ways, I've found, came from the work environment and how it was effective there, how it could be effective in relationships. Now, I'm saying all that to say this. If you could trust me, and if you could trust my history, and if you can trust my truth, and if you go back to many, many videos that I've done where I said, use the power of your voice to speak out and say something, you would know this one thing, and that is the silly docility of staying silent doesn't make any progress whatsoever. It doesn't fix the situation. What it does is it allows you to simmer. It allows you to get more aggravated. It allows you to eventually fly off the handle when you're tapped by that same thing. Staying silent doesn't fix anything. It doesn't feed a crying baby. The baby has to cry to let you know it's hungry. It doesn't stop a siren. The siren has to sound to let you know there's an emergency. There needs to be a sound that comes from you to say this is a problem for me. So let's do it this way. Let's say it this way. Why am I saying this? Why am I having this talk yet once again? So few people take the approach that she should have known or he should have known. Well, he saw how I felt about it. You didn't say how you felt about it. Is he supposed to read your mind? Or is she supposed to make an assumption about your body language, about how you feel about a thing? Especially in the workplace. If you've been wronged, you should say something. Now, a lot of people say, oh, well, I'm my boss. I'm afraid of my boss and I need my job. And this is why they get away with it. They, whatever kind of boss that is, they, whatever company allows that kind of boss to get away with it. I'm so over letting people mistreat people in the workplace. And no one knows about it because that mistreatment is not spoken in general and openly. It's something you just don't, they say the confident, well, this is confidential and don't, we're not going to discuss this. And the employer has empowered your silence. And all of that is wrong. All, all of that is wrong. The silly docility of staying silent is what's ruining and which is is what's allowing employers to remain, in many cases, bullyish and terminating people, and the person has no power to power back because they never said anything along the way. They didn't make noise about it. They said nothing. Let's examine the term docility. Docility is the quality of being easily controlled, to being easily managed, or easily disciplined. Now, doesn't all those terms fit the workplace? Controlled, managed, and disciplined. And what it does, the docile person rarely says anything. How silly is that? It can mean also docility, being willing to learn, to be taught, to be silent. You see. Now, a lot of times people say, well, I don't want to say anything because they're going to view me as a troublemaker, or they're going to say, I'm always complaining about things. How else do things get fixed if you don't say anything? Now, I'm not encouraging making the workplace cantankerous or disturbing, but what you're doing by not saying anything about something that's constantly bothersome to more people than just you is you're allowing a hostile work environment. You're allowing that boss to be that way. I recently heard a manager say that she found her calling, which is fighting. She fights employees, and nothing was done with that when it was reported. Guess what? I made note of it. Trust it, but I made a mental note of it. Okay? That right there, that type of language to an employee is bothersome, is bullyish, and is threatening. She said, I found my calling. My purpose is fighting, and that's what I'm good at. In the workplace? Come on, seriously. Now, you might say, well, my workplace is not like that, and we have a lot of policies in place and all that. You don't see what you don't see. You don't see what you're not around. You're not acquainted to certain things. I've been in the trenches. I've been in the trenches. And I've seen many employers stand behind well-written policies and fancy propaganda to save their day before they go to court. And the reason they don't go to court is you don't say anything. You have got to start speaking out for yourself, not again to create trouble. But you don't know how many of the same issues have already came about. Yours could be the next one to push a real change in that behavior. It's not okay for a person to be so stressed out at their work. And for a person to use personalities where they say, I found my calling and my calling is fighting. If you don't report that and you don't do anything about that and you don't proceed in such a manner that that shall never occur again for the next person, which could be your son or daughter or mine, then you by default are docile. Docile. The silliness of docility. The silly docility of silence. It never promotes anything. And here I am, a person who encourages amicable relationships, a person who will sit in a room until the two people with differences at least align themselves, a person who uses the tools of the company as well as the tools of their experience, as well as the tools of their approach, as well as the tools of their energy to have an amicable outcome where everyone is given an opportunity to seek to understand. I can sit across from anyone and talk just like I am now and insist before we leave, we have a conclusion by which everyone has been able to seek to understand the other person. Now, if you didn't say anything about a thing, how do we ever get to that point? You see, if you are living the silly docility of silence, how do you ever fix a hostile boss, a bully boss, a hostile work environment, gossip girls, all the things that I have written about in my books, the personalities? You don't fix that because you never brought it forth. And the person that could do a thing about a thing thinks everything is fine because they haven't heard anything from your silence, but the silence. So, if anything else, learn to approach a difficult thing in an amicable way by which everyone involved is seeking to understand and resolve the issue. Otherwise, work will continue to be docile and you'll be one of the sheep that's being led. Seriously. So fix that. And I love you. If you've gotten this far, please click like, please click subscribe, and I'll see you on my next one. Take care. Bye.